Yuki Tsunoda was kind of spilling the tea at the Japanese F1 drivers press conference. Meanwhile, Leclerc explained why he performed well even though he had a broken wing in China, and Hulkenberg gave his thoughts on his team's performance so far. Here is part 2 of summarising the interesting things that were said at the drivers press conference. Starting with Hulkenberg, he definitely said the least. It was mainly that himself and the team are feeling rather optimistic, and they feel like the Chinese race weekend wasn't really representative of what their car can do. Then with Leclerc, he was saying the things that you'd have expected him to say after the double DSQ. Also, the Ferrari F1 team feels like the pace isn't quite where they were expecting it to be, but the Tifosi do not dismay, because he is confident they can close this gap, and the team feels like they haven't maximised everything. He wanted to emphasise that he probably would have been stronger with a full front wing, but by changing tools and him adapting his driving style, it didn't have as much of an impact as they thought it would. Lastly is Tsunoda, and he is just really excited. For him, this is the best situation ever. Speaking about the timeline, he said that he first got a call from Horner on the Monday or the Tuesday after China, and Horner essentially said, be prepared, things might change a little bit. Now, he didn't say anything to anyone at the time because he wasn't allowed to. He didn't even tell his parents. And then a couple of days later, whilst he was in the UK, it was confirmed to him in person. Once the news did break, he got a message from Gasly who wanted to have a phone call with him. And this was about his experience at Red Bull, what he should have done whilst he was at Red Bull, and things that they could do at Red Bull over the next couple of races that could help Tsunoda. And he also got a message of support from Perez. In fact, all of the Red Bull family drivers sent him supportive messages. When asked about the simulator, he said it has gone well. The car doesn't feel crazy tricky in the sims, but he's aware of the fact that it will feel different in the sims compared to actually driving the car. However, interestingly, he said that he hasn't really been able to speak to Max about the car, and he thinks that even if he asked Verstappen about the car, Verstappen probably wouldn't give him a truthful answer. So Tsunoda is trying to work it out for himself. And if even after all of this, he's still struggling, he thinks he probably won't be asking Max. And speaking of Max, Yuki's new teammate was part of Horner's expectations. Apparently, Tsunoda doesn't have a set number of races that he has to prove himself by, but Horner said that he must give good results, help with development through giving good feedback, and be as close as possible to Max. And Yuki went on to say that Max is clearly the priority, but he understands why. Also, he mentioned that Helmut Marko hasn't called him yet, but that's really unusual for him because he normally would have by now. And I felt like Tsunoda was saying that he did have some choice in the matter when it came to swapping teams. Finally, Tsunoda said that obviously something like a podium would be the goal, but being more realistic, he would be quite happy if he made it to Q3 and he also got some points.